Teachers do not explain why kids are being taught a subject. You just sort of get dumped into math and like, well, why are you learning math? What's the point of this? This seems like some, for some people, like maybe it's, I don't know why I'm being asked to do these strange problems. Our brain has evolved to discard information that it thinks has no relevance. Picking kind of a problem and then using various educational tools to solve that problem, like using math or physics or economics to solve that problem, is far more engaging than teaching the tools.
From the time an American child reaches the 6th grade, they are taught that the key to success in life is to do well in high school so that they can get accepted to the best possible college. The better grades they get in high school, the better college they will have an opportunity to get into. They are taught that if they get into a great college and get their college degree, any type of job they desire in the field of their choice will be there waiting for them. After getting their dream job, they will be able to buy any car and house they desire, start their own family, and live the American dream. Most Americans today have an expectation of future economic success simply by obtaining a college degree. The entire purpose of elementary school is to prepare students for high school, and the entire purpose of high school is to prepare students for college. In fact, the U.S. now has hundreds of private college preparatory high schools that, at a cost of $25,000 per year, are supposed to increase students' chances of getting into a top-tier college. Students are taught to believe that if they don't go to college, they will be on a path to nowhere and will have no chance of ever building a successful career.
Read this 3rd grade California math standard and see if it would make sense to an 8-year-old. Understand a fraction 1 over b as a quantity formed by 1 part when whole is partitioned into b equal parts. Understand a fraction a over b as a quantity formed by a parts of size 1 over b. And if you gave this description to an 8-year-old, you'd probably get a reaction like this. To a math expert, this standard makes sense. But to a kid, it's absolute torture.
What we do know is, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you will never come up with anything original. And we're now running national education systems where mistakes are the worst thing you can make. In the next 30 years, according to UNESCO, more people worldwide will be graduating through education than since the beginning of history. Suddenly, degrees aren't worth anything. Isn't that true? When I was a student, if you had a degree, you had a job. If you didn't have a job, it's because you didn't want one. Because you need an MA, where the previous job required a BA, and now you need a PhD for the other. It's a process of academic inflation, and it indicates the whole structure of education is shifting beneath our feet.
Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." Today, here's a modern-day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today, and here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today, and here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A.
95% of jobs today are going to disappear in 10 years. The idea of the 4-year college, to me, is rubbish. It belongs in the trash bin of history. You cannot take a group of people who are 19 or 20 or 21 and put them in a bubble for 4 years. And guess what? 4 years, when they emerge from that bubble, the world has changed. The world is changing so fast that between 2016 and 2022, Singularity University says that we're going to see as much change as between 1900 and 2000. That change is accelerating. Gallup says that 54% of Americans dislike their jobs. So what kind of world are we building where our kids are having to spend so much money, especially in the US, to get an education, only to go take a job that the majority of them dislike? The system is broken. Look at what's happening in America today, where education today has become such a for-profit enterprise that young Americans start out their adult lives in massive debt for a bullshit piece of paper that very likely is going to mean nothing 10 years from now. This is what we want to disrupt.
You have to have a certain kind of brain to understand the dead language that they write in textbooks. But they brainwash you from a little kid up so that you buy into the system. And you get good grades, and you study hard, and then you become a member of the total system. No freedom. You don't know how to think, because they told you how to think their way. As we move deeper into this great recession that we believe, as inflation continues to skyrocket, the reality of a Great Depression will come in, because people will realize that all that worthless money you have can't buy you much of anything. You're going to see more and more people, as they're already doing it, believing that by going to college, that's going to be their passport to the future. It's not what it used to be. A degree, a college degree, a BS, what does that buy you? And I love the mentality. The mentality is this, that corporations and businesses won't hire a person unless they get a degree. Not me. I don't care if you have a degree. It makes absolutely no difference. I want you to have a mind, be able to think for yourself and think on your feet. Be energetic and love what you're doing and have a passion in so many different other ways. Not to be able to just regurgitate what you're being told. And that's all it's come to. It's regurgitation.